Hey, it's Nicole Elliott with Studio Elliott Focus. I just wanted to talk today about pricing. Okay, this is like such a huge, big question. What do I charge as a photographer? That was a lot simpler to answer 15 years ago when not everybody down the street was a photographer. Literally your next door neighbor across the street and your next door neighbor next door and your daughter is a photographer. So we live in a totally different era of photography now. And you have the old photographers, the ones that did it when it was filmed, that are saying, what are y'all doing thinking that you can be photographers? When we have spent thousands upon thousands. I mean, their cameras were $17,000 for their medium format cameras with the big, huge medium format film. You know, lots of education. They were an elite group. They were amazing. And now we're in a time where everybody can take pictures and everybody does, you know. So what do you charge now? I've got a few people I'm mentoring right now. And they're all in different stages in their photography walk. And they're all women. And one thing is always certain. You never feel like you can charge really what you're worth. Because as women, we really don't think that we're worth very much at all. And we are a slave to comparison. So we put our work out there and we think that everyone else's is better than ours. So there's no way we can charge what other people charge because we just aren't good enough. And that's just not true. You decide your own worth, especially when there is no this person is this level and this person is this level and this person is this level. It really doesn't exist in the photography world. It's a world of creativity. It's a world of your own expression, your own heart coming out and expressing itself. And that cannot be measured. So this is what I usually say to women, especially when you're first starting out in photography. Think about an hourly wage. Okay, think about what you should be making per hour. Okay, and this is really simple. And again, it's just my opinion. You are going to look online and there will be many different equations. You should take this and multiply it by this and then divide it by this, and that's your answer. And but there's so many variables to it. Are you printing big canvases? Are you just printing 8x10s? Are you just giving them all the files on a CD? Are you just shooting and burning? You know, I mean, it's like really broad what is happening right now in the photography industry. So it's really hard to quantify that as far as how much you should charge. So I just say, think about an hourly wage. Think about how much you want to get paid per hour. And it should not be less than $35 an hour, no matter what. If you are a serious photographer and you are saying, I want to do this, I have invested in a camera, I've invested in some equipment, I've invested in a handful of classes or workshops, or even I've invested my time into learning online, because now there's a huge online platform where you can learn anything really you need with photography. It really does pale in comparison to learning at a hands-on workshop. I really do encourage everybody to learn. Go to a workshop, invest the time, because you learn so much more that way. But if you're a photographer that has done a handful of those things and you have a heart and a passion for it, then you should not ever be charging less than $35 an hour, for sure. That's a very minimum, okay? Now, to give you an idea of like an hourly wage that photographers make that I know of, if you guys know of Sue Bryce, awesome photographer, she charges $500 an hour. I charge $175 an hour. And then there's photographers all the way in the middle of that, in between those two spectrums, between $35 and $500 and even higher than that. So where do you fall within that category? Okay, so I would say if you're just starting off, but you have all those things under your belt like I had mentioned before, you are going to want to be like 35, 45, and $50 an hour. That's what I would say. Now you might say to me, oh, $50 an hour? That's so much. That's like what doctors make. I mean, I don't know how much doctors make, but as far as an hourly wage goes, that's a decent amount, right? But you can't think about it like that. You have to think that there's value that you have now because you have gone to workshops or you've learned by going to classes. There's value in your camera equipment. Okay, there's value in the time that you spend away from your family. That is valuable, okay? So all of that goes into that hourly wage. Now, the more money you spend on those things, the more time you spend in those things, that hourly wage goes up. So let's say you have 19 years of experience behind you. Okay, now you're worth a little bit more than just $35 an hour. Let's say you've got a $50,000 studio. You're worth more than $50 an hour. Let's say you've got thousands of dollars in equipment. Now you're worth more than $30 to $50 an hour, okay? So all of that plays a big role in your hourly wage, okay? So then you take now all of the time you spend, every single second you spend on that particular photo shoot. So the shoot itself took you 2 hours. Then driving there was maybe an hour. Editing it, let's say 3 to 4 hours. All of that costs money, and you should charge accordingly. The money that costs is your equipment that you spent on it, your time you spent on it, all of your education behind it, the money you've put into everything, your studio, your props, whatever, okay? All of that is going into all of that time. That's why it's broken up into those hourly chunks of $45, $50, $100, $200, okay? So that's just like a baseline, simple, what do I charge formula for you. Okay, and I just am wanting to just get your brain thinking that there is value to what you do. Now, if you're just a shoot and burn photographer and you literally just take the pictures, burn it on a CD and give it to them, there's not much worth in that and not much value. I'm just going to say it. Because if you're not putting in the time to learn how to edit, you're not putting in the time to really think about the beauty of each image and giving them the right images and calling through all of these images, all that stuff takes time. But if you're really just taking 150 pictures, burning 150 pictures on a CD, then the worth there is pretty minimal, okay? Now, if you're a photographer that says, I'm going to edit these images, I'm going to learn how to edit well. I'm going to learn how to scooch the double chin in, because no woman likes to look at her face with a double chin. I'm going to learn how to get rid of the zits on the face. I'm going to learn how to smooth out the wrinkles just a tiny bit. Now that brings more worth to your work, and you can charge more than the photographer that just says, I'm just going to burn it on a CD and here you go, give me $80 for it, Think about all those things, right? And then you have photographers that just go even beyond that now have invested tons of time learning all this stuff. Now they have spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on amazing equipment, That now is worth more too. So your hourly wage should go up then. Every time you get new equipment, your hourly wage should go up too. So I hope that helps you to just understand where you're at, okay? Yeah, so I also want you guys to think about, now once you've thought about how much you should charge per hour, what does that look like? Do I just put it on a CD? Do I do in-person sales? Do I put it on Pixiest online and have them just order online? What do I do, okay? That I'm going to talk about later on, so you want to stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to put something up about that, or in the next couple weeks. So I just want you guys to just do photography with excellence. And not just because you have a DSLR camera, should you be a photographer. I have seen a lot of photographers shoot and burn. And what I mean by that is they actually shoot all these different things because they're just doing it for so cheap, just because they love to do it. But then they just burn themselves out because they never charged what they should have. They never set the right parameters around. They never structured a good business. They just did it because they liked it. And they were never really meant to be a business person in that way. So those are things I kind of want to unpack with you in your brain and in your mind, and just really help you to understand your own heart and your own desire behind what you do, and to create the right parameters around it that keep you safe and keep you passionate about it. Because you can get burnt out so easily. And that is just the worst, when a photographer ends up hating what they're doing because they just got so burnt out. And so I want to keep you from that. Hopefully this helps you and gives you some sort of an idea on what to charge and how to move forward in just those beginning stages. So stay tuned in. Studio Elliott Focus. If you liked it, share it, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'm just going to pour out my heart and give you everything I know. Have a great day. Talk to you later.